How's it going, you wonderful bunch of bakers? Hope you're having a great day so far. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'll show you how to make a super delicious Bakewell Tart. So let's get in the kitchen and get started. The Bakewell Tart is an English classic. You can find various versions of it, from the cheap and cheerful supermarket ones to fancy coffee shop ones. They all share the same basic elements: a pastry base, a layer of jam, a layer of frangipane, and they are often decorated with sliced almonds. It is a simple recipe with a few good lessons to be learned along the way, especially good for beginners. So let's get right to it, let's see how it's made, starting with the ingredients. For the pastry, we'll need some white bread flour, butter, ground almonds, icing sugar, an egg yolk, and some salt. For the frangipane mix, we'll need some more ground almonds, some more butter, some more icing sugar, a couple of eggs, and some vanilla paste or vanilla essence. We'll need some raspberry jam for the jam layer, and some sliced almonds for topping. You could customize this recipe by using different ground nuts and a different kind of jam. When it comes to the equipment, we'll need a bowl, scales, a whisk, a spatula, a rolling pin. A piping bag will really come in handy, but you could definitely survive without it. We'll need a piece of baking paper, which we will use for rolling out the pastry and for blind baking. And of course we'll need a tart case, ideally with a removable bottom. The case that I'm using is 20 centimeters or 8 inches across, but you can get away with using a slightly larger one. We'll need something to weigh the pastry down for blind baking. You can use dedicated baking beans or rice. I'm going to use bulgur wheat. Okay, let's start by making the pastry. Grab a large bowl, combine the flour, the icing sugar, the ground nuts, and the salt. Give it all a good mix. Make sure everything is well combined and make sure there are no lumps in the icing sugar. You could also sift it beforehand. Once you are happy with the mix, add the butter to it. It doesn't really matter if you're using cold butter pieces or room temperature butter. It's still the same process at the end. You want to crumble the ingredients together. Keep breaking the butter up and coating it in the dry mix until the mix develops a sandy texture. Now we can add the final ingredient, the egg yolk. Give everything a very good mix now. I first like to break the egg yolk up and mix it into the ingredients, and I like to finish the pastry by kneading it a little bit and making sure that it's all nice and cohesive. Once you can shape it into a nice smooth ball, it's ready. To make it easier to work with, we'll chill it before we use it. Place the ball of pastry on a piece of cling film and flatten it out. Then wrap it up so it doesn't dry out and pop it in the fridge to cool down for around 45 minutes. During this time you can start preheating the oven to 160 degrees Celsius, 320 Fahrenheit, fan on. And that'll be 180 Celsius or 355 Fahrenheit, fan off. While the pastry is chilling and the oven is preheating, we can prepare our tart tin. Brush the whole surface with some softened butter. Then sprinkle the tart case with a handful of flour. Now pick it up, shake it around, turn it and knock it. Ensure that the whole surface is covered in flour. Once the whole surface is completely covered, you want to knock out the excess flour. This buttery, floury coating will guarantee that the pastry doesn't stick to the case. You can use the same method for cake tins also. It works very well. Okay, once the timer is up, grab the pastry out of the freezer, place it on a piece of non-stick baking paper, then dust it with flour and roll it out. Remember, it's pastry, not dough, so it will be slightly crumbly. As you roll it out, the edges will start cracking. What I like to do to fix it is to first roll the pastry out a bit and then use my fingers to push the edge in to even it out again, and then finish rolling it to the desired size. Stop once in a while and measure it against your tart case. And this looks just about right. Now, since this pastry is quite crumbly, we can't really pick it up. So here's my method for moving it to the tart case. First, place the bottom of the case in the middle of the pastry, with the floured side facing the pastry. Now take the ring and align it over the base. Now slide your hand underneath the paper, pick the whole thing up and then flip it in one smooth move. This pastry is quite crumbly, so some of the edges might break, but that's normal, don't worry about it. Remove the baking paper, set that aside, we'll use it in a minute. Now arrange the pastry so that it fits the case perfectly. Make sure that it goes down into the corner where the edge meets the bottom, and be sure to press the sides into the grooves and leave a little overhang over the edge, because we don't want the pastry to fall down into the case as it bakes. Place the tart case with the pastry on a baking sheet. Now take the same piece of baking paper that you used for rolling out the pastry with and squish it together. Wrinkle it all up. Make it as wrinkly and soft as possible. This will make it conform to the pastry case and it will prevent it from having any sharp edges. Gently mold it so that it fits the pastry. And now pour in the baking beans or bulgur wheat or rice or whatever you're using. Spread it out, push it in, ensure that it's nice and even all over the place. Okay, let's get this thing in the oven. The initial bake will take 20 minutes. After the first 20 minutes of baking, remove the pastry from the oven and gently remove the paper with the grains. Be nice and slow and careful. At this point the pastry is still quite fragile. Release the edges first and only then lift it out. Reserve the grains for later. You can reuse them endlessly. If there's a bit of a damage to the pastry, you can try and fix it at this point. We need to bake this for 10 more minutes, but before it goes back into the oven, we'll trim the edge off. In my opinion, trimming the edge now is much safer and easier than doing it later. Be careful, don't rush it, and cut outwards. Once the edge has been trimmed, place the pastry back into the oven for another 10 minutes of baking. The reason for covering the pastry and weighing it down for the initial bake is to ensure that it doesn't puff up and get distorted. Okay, while the pastry is baking, we can move on to making the filling. In a large bowl, combine the icing sugar, the vanilla, and the butter. Grab a whisk and then mix until it's all nice and smooth. And here again you could sift the icing sugar beforehand. It's not completely necessary as you can see, but it could make your life easier. Once the mix is nice and smooth and there are no lumps in the icing sugar, add the eggs and whisk them in. After whisking in the eggs, we can add the final ingredient, the ground nuts. Now whisk it one last time to ensure that there are no lumps. Now we can transfer the mix to a piping bag, that is if you are using one. I know it's not very economical to use plastic like this, but these heavy duty piping bags can be washed and reused. Okay, once the pastry is fully baked, it is ready to be filled straight away. There is no need to cool it down. You could of course prepare the pastry ahead of time. You could keep it in the fridge, you could even freeze it. I'm just showing you the quick version here. Okay, let's start by applying a layer of jam. Pipe it on or spoon it on and then spread it out so it's nice and even. Next, grab the piping bag with the cake mix and repeat the same steps. Pipe it on and then smooth it out. I had just a little bit of mix left over. The filling should be level with the edge. If you have a bit left over, just squeeze it in a cupcake case and bake it. Okay, last but not least, the sliced almonds. Sprinkle them on in a nice even layer. And then to really make them stick, gently press them down with the palms of your hands and tidy up the edges of the pastry. Okay, let's get this bad boy in the oven. It'll take around 45 minutes to fully bake. And once it's beautifully golden brown all over, it's ready. Get it out of the oven and leave it to cool down at room temperature. I left it for around 1 hour. We'll remove it from the case once it's cool enough to handle. You could certainly leave it to cool down at room temperature completely, but I'm going to move it to the fridge because it's much easier to cut when it's completely cold. Before placing it in the fridge, I'm using my dough scraper to release it from the bottom of the tart case. This will make it easier to remove later on. A few hours in the fridge will do, but I left it overnight. And there you have it. That's how you make a beautiful Bakewell tart. It's a basic recipe, but the result is quite extraordinary. Bakes like these make me look like a pro, even though I have no clue about pastry. And it will be the same for many of you. So get yourself some ingredients and make your own Bakewell tart. So what do you think this recipe? And have you ever made a Bakewell tart before? Let me know down in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this one, click over here. Subscribe to the channel, click right here. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.